Anita and I were sitting in the courtroom the moment that Justice Anthony Kennedy announced this decision in Jack Phillips, the owner of Masterpiece Cakeshop, with regards to his collision of his rights against the LGBT agenda. Jack Phillips is the Colorado baker that refused to use his artistic expression to promote a same-sex ceremony. And 7 justices said that the free exercise of religion ultimately sides with Jack Phillips, and not just him, with everyone. The court ultimately decided that the First Amendment requires a neutral decision maker with neutral criteria, that our free exercise of religion rights must be given deference and considered seriously. In this case, they were not. They were cast aside, and in some cases, some people even denigrated the right to have a religious belief on the issue of marriage. The First Amendment requires more than that. In this respect, this case applies far beyond Jack Phillips, and it's a huge victory. Some say it's narrow and applies only to Jack Phillips. Some say it's a big victory. I say it's a big victory. It could have been catastrophic had it gone the other way. This case is not limited to Jack Phillips. Our First Amendment right to free exercise of religion must be considered and taken seriously in this and every other situation. Now, this case will not solve this clash between our First Amendment rights and the LGBT agenda for all time. That will await another case. And I think it will focus on the First Amendment right to freedom of speech. That was not decided in this case because the record was not fully complete on that matter. But as Justices Thomas and Gorsuch said in their concurring opinions, the First Amendment right to freedom of speech is broader. It applies to all of us, irrespective of our motivation. And it should solve the issue for all time in these kinds of collisions. Why? Because the First Amendment right to free speech not only protects your right to speak, but also your right not to speak, and certainly your right not to have the government compel you to speak a message. And that's the issue in this case. The government was trying to tell Jack Phillips that he needed to speak a message endorsing or supporting or promoting a same-sex ceremony. Now, that issue will ultimately come before the Supreme Court at some time in the future, maybe in the next year or two. And that case, I believe, will address the issue for all of us for all time. I believe that's the broader case that's coming down the pipe. But in the meantime, this is a significant decision. Jack Phillips can now be free to continue his bakery and also to bake wedding cakes consistent with his free exercise of religion. And that applies to all of us. This could have gone the other way, but we rejoice today and continuing that this case garnered 7 justices siding with the free exercise of religion. I encourage you to get this message out to all of your friends and through your social media outlets to get out the word about how big and important this case is. Some have tried to limit it because they don't like the message. The fact of the matter is, this is a huge victory for freedom of religion, for Jack Phillips, and frankly for all of us.